the other end of the spectrum, or the solar battery wind guys, those guys are definitely a lot more advanced in this transition. So I don't think it's really a competition. I think it's more of this transition that is getting. I think it could be on the chopping block here. I'm just unsure who wins really. Who wins in this whenever we're cutting these incentive programs, because just like solar was 20-25 years ago, we advanced a lot of those technologies, but production went to China, and unfortunately, it looks like we might have to do the same here, because they've invested in a lot of these technologies in parallel with the United States. But a lot of production was slated to come to the United States for these projects because of the IRA. And unfortunately, I think if we don't kind of nip this where in the Senate, a lot of these projects might end up going back to China or Europe.
Yeah, and you're talking about fossil fuel projects, right? And so,
right,
and
that's right.
If you can put up F1 here, this is the kind of the utility industry complaining. They're talking about clean energy, but if you read deeper into the story, they're talking about the entire thing. I've seen you make the point, and I've seen others make it as well, that in order to, we're talking about AI and other computing. Trump says everything is computer, requiring something like a doubling of U.S. energy production over the the very near term. And I've seen you and others talk about the fact that the natural gas turbines that are needed to ramp up. Let's say you love natural gas, you hate clean energy, you just want to burn natural gas. The turbines needed to produce energy from it are facing something like, you tell me, something like a 96-month backlog, like or 10 years almost, like if you wanted new ones.
I mean, I think,
can you walk us through, what does it actually mean to produce this energy?
Right. So these projects that the IRA kind of incentivized, they're long duration. There's a lot of engineering that goes into these projects. So even on a short scale, if you were, you didn't have these projects in development before, I mean, these are 3 to 5 year projects. So a lot of these have not hit the ground yet, so to speak. So in the realm of natural gas, I mean, everyone's always said natural gas is a transition fuel, and in the near term, I believe we do have to ramp up natural gas with a lot of carbon capture if possible. I mean, that seems to be kind of left in the lurch now to meet these energy demands. But the big gas turbine manufacturers, GE, Siemens, Mitsubishi. I mean, I think on a very conservative estimate, they're 5 years out from delivering. Even if and we're going back to kind of putting deposits down to get in the queue, essentially, kind of what we were back in the early 2000s, when the last time natural gas was relevant. So yeah, we're going back to the 5 year waits, and if AI does ramp up aggressively, I mean, we're talking about maybe 10 years backlog. So none of these are going to happen quickly. I think everyone should understand that. I mean, these big AI and data centers and crypto announcements. I think everyone's a little too optimistic if they're thinking 1 to 3 years. You just can't get these components. I mean, gas turbines are one thing. I mean, I don't know if you've heard about the transformer issues. Another key component that the backlog has just ramped up tremendously since COVID, and doesn't look anywhere near resolving itself.
And I want to roll this clip, F2, of Elon Musk, who is going to be on CBS Sunday Morning this week, and they're revealing sort of teaser moments from that conversation. And Musk sort of talks about the quote-unquote big, beautiful bill in this exchange. We can go ahead and roll the clip.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly. which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, like, everything he's done on Doge gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
So there we have clean energy, domestic manufacturing / assembly man Elon Musk looking at the big beautiful bill with a dose of realism after he spent, I guess, the last 6 months or so in Washington, D.C. So I wanted to ask, I mean, a lot of people on the right are actually criticizing the bill for not going far enough on dismantling the IRA. That's something a lot of people want to see happen when it goes over to the Senate. But my understanding is also that some of what the bill does is meant to disentangle production from China and bring it back to the U.S. It sounds like the way that they're going about that, I mean, it's the foreign entity clause in the bill. It sounds like some of the way they're going about that is actually counterproductive, possibly as well. Can you just kind of flesh out that dynamic for us?
Yeah, I mean, it is puzzling. The intent versus the reality of it. I think it's going to be difficult to get these projects off the ground with those kind of last minute tweaks to that bill, especially the foreign entity, because we still don't make a lot of these components in the United States. Obviously, we were getting there, but I don't think we would have really justified making all the smaller components, maybe some of the larger components that would comprise of these projects. But it's a big hurdle.
Can you explain that? So the foreign entity of concern, this is basically referring to China. The bill says, correct me if I'm wrong here, the bill basically says if you're getting components from China,
or investment.
Or investment from China, then you cannot get the access to the tax credits, which make the project kind of pencil out in a financial way. So, as somebody who's involved in the industry, how possible would it be if you were told, okay, you want these credits, every component and all investment must come from the U.S. I guess you can get French investment, but you can't get Chinese investment. You can't have Chinese components. Like, could you get a project going anytime soon under those circumstances?
You could get break ground, but lead times would definitely delay the project tremendously. I think another component of the kind of last minute, negotiating for this bill, I think the more dangerous component is the start time. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these projects.
Yeah, explain that. This is a really interesting component.
Right.
Of it.
So a lot of these projects, so they didn't scrap the IRA per se, but they did put some stringent regulations like the FEOC, and then the start time for a lot of these projects to qualify for the incentives, or 60 days from the final passage of the bill. So that's really a killer right there. I mean, right. I think that would kill 99% of the projects that are slated to come. And
you have to finish by a certain time too?
Yes, you have to finish by 2028. And like I said, these projects are long lead time, a lot of engineering involved. And some of these projects are really relying on incentives that were finalized in January, right? So a lot of these, the financial modeling, the projections, I mean, they're still in limbo. So you're not getting to a final investment decision considering the uncertainty, essentially. So even the projects that were heavily financed by, let's say big oil and gas or big energy companies, legacy companies, I don't see them getting through, especially with the 60-day start time. I mean, we're talking about a project that would normally go through engineering in 2 to 3 years. And then saying, you have to break ground 60 days after finalization of this bill. I think that's really killing all the incentives that are in the IRA to begin with.
So basically, if we zoom out to the broader goal of onshoring, nearshoring, friendshoring some of these industries, the bill, I guess, is from that perspective then actually kind of hurting its own goal or under